Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Carter Ray, Skip Bayless, and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, he hit me as I beat him. Step into the court, I'm never backing down. Killing competition, I'm smacking down. Let me get back to the other stuff at the Chop Shop, cause they cutting up. It's Retro coming to you live to the Chop Shop. Now let's turn it up. Yeah, we in the Chop Shop, man. Shout out to Jim Hicks and Rob Hatter. You can catch the Chop Shop live from 12 to 2 on Facebook Live. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop.
Welcome to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour. Yours truly, Jim Hicks, live on this Monday. Of course, Robert Haller is traveling. We're going to take you through a variety of topics today. You guys know it. I'm going to open up the phone lines later on, and we're going to get you to share the show from whatever platform you are on right now. I am logging in on the other devices. Oops. Let me go back. And so that I can share along with you guys. What a great weekend it was, wherever you guys were around the country. Man, a lot of NBA playoffs have begun. Now the real playoffs. Get to see a lot, get to learn a lot, and we'll talk about that. Injuries are amongst us. Ain't much to talk about in Major League Baseball. The Astros continue to go the wrong way in the standings. Later on in the show, if you want to talk some baseball, we can get into that as well. NCAA news in regard to the transfers, the unlimited transfers has been approved. So what does this mean for high school prospects? We will dive into that topic as well. And, man, there's so much more. But I see you guys live up in the Boom Boom Room. Of course, we're streaming live on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously. We're waiting on everybody to line, I guess, to fill on in. And that's what I am getting on the Facebook page now, myself. And so that I can be right. If you just tune in once again, Robert Hatter, he's out of the state and he's not mobile. He'll be with us. He may tune in and join you guys in the Boom Boom Room later on. But meanwhile, let's get these shares popping on this Monday. I know you guys wasn't expecting me to be on this early. I'm back in old form. You guys know I just hold it down when it's time. That's what reliability comes into play. a lot of grassroots basketball topics to discuss. We're gonna I guess we'll dive and start right off. Normally on the Boom Boom Room, I will go and start and we'll talk about grassroots topic in the back nine. I call it in the second hour. But today we can dive right into it. We got some stuff going on, social media topics, and around this time of the year, everybody gets to wondering what's so wrong in Greater Houston with the state of basketball, the amateur basketball scene it is, and its coverage. And we'll get off into that. But first we want to let you guys get your shares in. I'm doing the same thing right now. And then want to ask you guys to think about something. How did we get to this space of the grassroots basketball? How did we get here? But first, let's give shout outs to where they're in order, where they're due, and that is from the Pearland Texas Classic. And, well, I'm sorry. First, we got to give a starting five. Excuse me, guys. It's been a long time since I've been solo on this thing. Thaddeus Moody, I see you up in there. Shout out all the way up to Chicago, Illinois. Michael Smith, right? Shout out to Icy Mike. He's traveling on the West Coast. Chris Boudreaux is up in the house. Rod Wells, Jeremy Davis. I see you guys. Yo, these are the starting five today, right? In the Chop Shop. And now, as you guys are lining on in, like I say, we're gonna talk. We're gonna go all the way around the horn with these topics. But I'm also going to give you guys a chance to share your thoughts, not just, of course, in the Boom Boom Room, but I will open up the phone lines for you when we get to various topics. First, like I said, first and foremost, I'm going to shuffle the deck, and we will go with the Pearland Texas Classic, which was this past weekend. We will talk about different teams in different tournaments. If you and your team fared well, I invite you to send me the results. And in this new, I guess in a new order, or this new, they call it the new media. And new media operates different, but I'm going to part of the old regime. Well, I'm asking you guys to simply supply me with intel. Then I can relay and assimilate that intel to my platforms. And then that way now, that intel can be amplified as news. But if you don't supply me with intel, then what you're basically saying, you're playing peekaboo, you're playing hide and go get it, you're playing, you're basically playing a game to say, well, see, he ain't gonna talk about us, he just gonna talk about them. Truth be told, wouldn't be able to talk about them if them didn't supply me with intel. That's fair enough. And for example, supplying with intel. This is about as simple and raw as it gets. Okay, this past weekend, We're going to talk Pearland Classic, but up in Dallas, there was a couple of events taking place. A couple of teams from Greater Houston traveled up there and played. Some teams, played against other teams, compatible opponents. One of those teams was Coos Elite. Coos Elite, we'll talk more about them, of course, tomorrow, but right now I'm just giving you an example. They played the Southern Assault, which is Adidas sponsor. Coos Elite has a deal with Puma. I'm not mistaken. You guys correct me. And they played a game. Now, I'm understanding that Southern Assault may have been minus a guy or two, but that's all part of the business. A lot of teams are without or minus a player or two this time of year or in the latter parts of the year. It happens. But Coos Elite got the win, right? And in doing so, there was a young man, Jason Scott. He's at Westbury Christian School. Jason Scott fared pretty well. I don't remember. I don't have it in front of me. I want to say 19, 20 points, something like that, in the win. Put his fingerprints on the win. And but the thing about this Jason Scott, young man, is that before this past weekend, his parent supplied me with some really intriguing intel, a resume of him as a student athlete right now. He's an 11th grader, Westbury Christian School. Check this out. As it stands right now, he has a 4.0 core GPA. He scored 1320 on the SAT. In addition to leading his basketball team in about 4 different categories this season, as an 11th grader, he's taken AP Physics, AP U.S. History, AP English Literature and Composition, plus dual college credit he has received in psychology and sociology. Now recently, last week, this young man, Jason Scott, was named to the TAPS All-State Academic Team, which is safe to say he's definitely on the honor society. If you missed it earlier, 4.0 GPA, 1320 on the SAT. He's only in 11th grade. All right? He's also the chess club founder at his high school. He's an NAACP youth member. I gave you 90% of a description of this young man without giving you any basketball stats. And that description, it motivates you. It should influence you now to just want to see him play basketball. By the way, he's about 6'2", maybe 6'3" by now. Hadn't seen him in a month. But based on, if you pay attention to trees and look down at the apples, his older brother, right, graduated last year and currently holds his pilot's license. He has flown his own plane, and he's in the aviation program at Texas Southern University right now. Now, in case you missed it, we're talking about Jason Scott. His older brother Justin Scott. So, you guys, it's applaud, because sometimes you get so consumed trying to make these kids believe that basketball is the only way out. And somebody raised up a hell of a point to me. And it's not to demean or devalue any of you men out there who have emerged into this basketball developmental space or space of influence. But here's the deal. The vast majority of our basketball jocks were not scholars in the classroom. That's just the facts. Just goes to support that. So, if you, and I go sideways with this, if you as a parent did not make investments or were not taught the principles of economics, then the odds are likely that you will not properly be able to relay or install that software into the minds of your kids. Now, you can tell them that it's valuable, but you are not prone to do that. Meaning, go back to the developmental coaches. And what I'm saying is, if you were a jock and you played here, you played there, you played everywhere, and you were not economically advanced in finance or in the principles of saving or the principles of just diversifying, creating and diversifying a portfolio, then it could be understood why you would want to stress basketball as priority number one to these kids. It's understood because it was priority number one for you. And you had little to no option B in this equation. For those people whom excelled at more than one sport in high school, they are the ones who are likely to understand if they are able or fortunate enough to reach and have influence on a young man, a student athlete who may be excelling or show that he's above average or she is above average in 2 or more sports. That person should understand, if nobody else, how to diversify those talents up until a point where you have to make a choice. But then if a person didn't excel in 2 sports, then it would be understandable that they would probably attempt to get you to make a choice at an earlier age. Some people are simply gifted. Some people are more athletic. Now, the talent factor can easily be submerged or sustained or decline. But if you got hops, you ain't gonna stop dunking tomorrow. You got hops, you ain't gonna not touch the top of the square tomorrow. Next week, you're not. you're not going to decline that ability to touch the top square. If anything, you can go and try to touch the top of the backboard if you're working out those legs properly. If you're fast, other guys, you can slip in time. Yes. You cannot meet your fastest mark. But if you're fast, you're still going to be fast compared to the averages. It's going to be a long time before. Now, they can catch you as your body could change. You can get overweight. That's a whole different topic. What I'm saying is, a lot of times, when you have, my point is, if we have kids that are excelling like that in the classroom, that kid could have the power to influence 2 or 3 or 5 or all 10 of his teammates into incorporating his study habits. If you, the influencer, not devalue, revalue him or her to the team at every single turn, remind them how important and how exceptional that young man is. That's at every point in turn. Right? So I see a lot more of you guys are tuned in. And if you just tuned into the Chop Shop, share the show. I'll read some of the comments and we'll put some on the board right now. We'll get this, we'll get some of this stuff to popping. Here we go. Herb says, let's see if we can, he says, in this current climate of college athletics, do college coaches care anything about grades and test scores anymore? Some do. A lot do. When you're talking about big stakes basketball, I think it matters less, in big stakes basketball. But the big stakes basketball, that's the 1/10 of the 1%. The masses are not going to sniff big stakes basketball, big budget basketball. That'd probably be a better suited term of it. So, but the masses, that becomes attractive if you are a player that has no offers. That's a tiebreaker. That's a potential tiebreaker. If I know this about this young man and the talents, neither one has an offer. I'm looking, and I learned this about this young man. Jason Scott, 4.0 GPA, 1320 SAT, AP classes, at least 4 different AP classes, taking 2 different dual college credits already up on his belt. I mean, he's on pace to probably have an associate's degree when he graduate high school, or be close to it. That can be a tiebreaker to some young men. Got some more comments on here. We put them on the board for you guys to see. And that is, my son got accepted to TSU and starts in the pilot program in the fall. How about that, man? Good way to go. D1 Hornets. I mean, these are exceptional. Basketball can be used as a tool to help finance your careers, not as the end all be all. So when we're investing all of this money, and once we start, it's almost like you're almost embarrassed to just cut losses at some point. Do you realize that some of your kids just really would rather do something else? They're doing it merely just to keep you happy. They're doing it because they think that you would feel that they're a failure if they don't. Because that's all they hear you talk about. You know, you're overfloating things and you're catch yourselves overselling things, just like some of these guys or these people have oversold to you. You're overselling to your family. For example, I like this cup. I like what it says. You go and you get your schedule. You get on your team. You done paid all your dues, your fees. Now you go and tell everybody at the church or at work. You make them believe knowingly. By now, you know your team is not fully sponsored. But you tell them, oh, he plays for the Puma team or the New Balance team or the Nike team or the Adidas team or the Under Armour team, knowing that's not the sponsored team. You're playing on a sub-tier circuit, on a racket circuit. Racket. That's what it is. Good. It works for some, I guess. But most people gets in certain, unless you're a certain sneaker line, of course you can't speak on the junior EYBL or any of those sub-tier things like with the Nike because it's their first lap around the track. But for the most parts of other ones, if they're that good, then why is the turnover in the state of Texas been so high from one year to the next 2 years? Why there's so many of those sub-tier circuits who were here, one day you're here and the next day you're gone somewhere else to another one. If they're so good and it works so fine, I'm putting something on your mind. Now, when I say you're giving false information, you're going telling these people that you're going here and your son here and he fit to play in this coach and he got offers from this school and this school likes him and that school likes him and that, you know, and you haven't talked to this coach one time. You haven't talked to him one time. So you're pushing propaganda that has been pushed to you. I think I saw on social media the other day, right? Where somebody said, if you want to know, you want to test how serious the coach is, right? Ask him for the head coach's cell phone number. Immediately. If you meet the assistant coach, give me your boss cell. Can I get your head coach cell number? Now you're gonna be in the rare. You're gonna be in the minority, but ask for the boss's cell number. Now, that don't mean because he don't give it to you, they don't like you. That don't mean that. But I'm gonna tell you what it does mean. They don't like you that much right now. If they did, he would give you his boss's cell number in a heartbeat. Now he might warn you, my boss may not answer this call, man. But here you go. You want me to call him first? But it could tell you something that you might not be ready to learn. That's the good thing about it. Also, as I'm going through and I'm putting some more comments on there, all right? And I'm going back, I come up on up, all right? And We got a loan. Herb, Johnny on net coming. Some of you guys are getting multiple ones. He says, how can the kids be in good academic standing if they're transferring every year? There's one young man from Great Houston area that has attended 4 institutions of higher learning in 4 years and currently in the transfer portal. The question is, how can the kids be in good academic standing if they're... You can be in good academic standing if you're transferring for 4 years. Just it sets a pattern. That's what it does. But you can be in good academic standing if you're a good student. Now the thing is, what are you transferring for? If you were transferring for basketball purposes, then that you still could be a great student or an above average academic student, but trying to search for something and maybe fooling yourself. Eventually, they all end up where they belong, people. Eventually. They all end up where they belong. I'm telling you. Foolproof. That's eventually. Right? And I try to get people to understand that in this business. You can try, but you can't trick this stuff, man. You can trick some people, but you can't trick the system with this basketball. We got some more coming up. Johnny Arnett responds to that. He says, Herb, I think so to a certain point. In my experience, the last 3.5 years, seeing what my son's academic advisor keeps him current on his GPA. Now, the athletic advisor for the team does the same. The entire team's GPA is structured. That's one particular program. And that works fine, it appears, of course, with them. Right? And I'm trying to see if I can make these things larger for you guys. And make this color a different color that'd be more easier on the eyes for you guys as well. Let's do this. Let's see if this will work. You just bear with me on this, guys. I'm trying to pop a wheelie with this thing. And if you're just tuning on the Chop Shop, just bear with me. Let's see if that works. There you go. You see? Now we look better. Those are comments now. I'm getting this stuff now. You ain't tell you. Come on now. And as we go to more comments, right? And because Ms. Forbes said you still have to be able to pass the admission process. And we're talking about the masses. And the masses are non-Division I students. But even the D1 process, you still have to be admitted. Certain schools, certain programs, certain coaches, the admission process, it varies. There are different requirements that are set by different institutions. Some student athletes, they will go and bend a margin to get a certain player in. Some they will not. Now, of course, I see you, Archie Young, out there. And of course, to the parent D1 a while ago, here's a parent that's just said, then y'all need to connect, because her son is also in that pilot program. So now you're building a fraternity from out of the Chop Shop, and that's one of the things, right? That people, one of the so many things people benefit from, right? So now, as we move forward, they have connected. I'm going down, and I'm trying to pull some different comments. I see you, Terrence Foley. I see you, Jamaica Hyder. Right? And Big Coach says, since when you pass out people's number without asking the person first? Why would you give a parent, Buzz Williams? I said, if that person, let's put it like this. Tremont Mark was in the transfer portal, and you were a college assistant and you called Tremont Mark, right? Or you walked in, you face to face to him, and Tremont Mark asked you, can I talk to your boss? Well, I've always been a fan. It's my dream coach. Can I talk to him? Can you give me his number? Can you put me on the phone with him? Same thing. Put me on the phone with him then, Big Coach. If that coach wants you bad enough, he's going to call his boss and put him on the phone with you. And then you have the opportunity, he put you in a position of power to, coach, hey, can I call you or text you sometime? Yeah. And the coach will say, yeah, take my number down. Or you ask the coach first, he going to say yay or nay. And if he don't, which is fine, then you say, can you get me on the phone with him? But a closed mouth can't get fed. And we can't teach kids to be scared to ask questions, especially to empower themselves. We have a whole society of people out here in these streets that have purposely inserting themselves at the edge of your driveway so that other people can't pull in and pick you up. And you don't know that they're there. You don't even know they're there. They're inserting themselves into so they'll be in the position of power. Now, if you inform them or you approve these tactics, then that's cool. That's your circle. That's how it goes. But those college coaches don't know that until it's too late. So they're going to go through that guy, and that guy's going to go and make them seem. And guess what? The equation is simple. The triangle is simple. Because this is where the disconnect gets at. You have the parent, which is the parent and the kid goes hand in hand. That's the common denominator. That household. You have the grassroots coach over here. You have the high school coach over here. That creates that triangle, right? That creates the triangle. So as that triangle is created, the grassroots coach will have more than likely have the most time. In most cases, the odds are on his side to have more time throughout the workday to communicate to various coaches about various kids, because he has various kids in his program. That high school coach may only have one, maybe 4 at a time, if he's fortunate. So it's less phone calls, it's less communicating. So what happens is that grassroots coach, or not say the grassroots, that person, and right now it's been divided. Grassroots coach is almost now square, because now the workout guy has found a place in this equation. He's found a place in this equation. So now, if any of those 3 are operating without keeping the parent informed on a very timely basis, then you're compromising the entire dynamic of the triangle or the square. And this is what many people are doing now. So then it creates a sense of animosity or lack of respect from one of those 3 towards the other 1 or 2, meaning the high school coach, the grassroots coach, the workout person. because the tug of war on the power of influence on the family, on the kid. They're all talking to the kid every day. But I didn't say that. I said keeping the parent informed in a timely fashion. That's what's not being done. And the parent are often it's unbeknownst to them that they should be informed. You should be reported to. Because whose name is on the birth certificate of that kid? Whose name on the birth certificate? So, they should be helping to educate you and prep you, parents, for your time and day for when you get to speak with those college coaches. You don't need, not to prep you for an official or unofficial visit. No. Because otherwise, who the hell gave you the authority to speak on these people's baby? You took it upon yourselves. Now, if somebody else took it upon themselves to speak upon your baby without your consent, then how the hell would you feel? This is what's going on out here. And then you'll say, well, man, the parents, somebody got, the parents, them coaches, understand something. You're there, if you're doing it properly and you're doing it with the integrity is on the positive side of this thing, that parent is going to welcome you with open arms. But at the same time, they're going to also welcome. You can't do it at the expense of trying to box out one of the others. It's almost like how would you say the daddy, which is now the ex-husband, and the new husband, and the kids are young kids, infants. At some point, a decision is going to be made. That triangle, the mom is the common denominator. Of course, and the kid, mom and the kid goes as one. That's the unit. But then you got the ex, who's the father, and you have the new, the current, who's the step father. At some point, for this young person, for that infant, right, to keep the odds in his or her favor, a decision is going to be made to either what? Either get along in the form of respect, or no communication. Keep the walk between them whatsoever. But at the same point, you can't keep the dad from the kid. See, decisions has to be made. But if it's animosity, then you got to make amends, or you got to make how would you call it, audibles in this situation in order to make it work. But the good ones is when there's an understanding here and respect here, and it's on both sides of the fence, and nobody is behind the other one's back, trying to tell the kid and remind the kid how your dad you ain't hear from your dad last Christmas. It don't need that. Your body of work will be seen. Right? So I'm forwarding on down. And I see Michael Smith, you send me a text message, but it's a video. I can't watch the video in here. So just text me as to what is it going to say at the end so that I can announce it, or it looks like it's already happened. But if I'm on the show and it's going to go through the video, I can't I can't watch it wholeheartedly. I see you, Sonia Billingsley. I see you, Mindy Collins. You guys are just falling into the chop shop. Share the show if you haven't done so, guys. I'm going to ask you guys to share the show. We need you to share the show. It's so therapeutic on this Monday, right? And if you just missed, I see Kevin Allen is foul up in the Silver Fox. Make sure you check him out every Saturday morning on 90.9 FM KTSU, along with Devin Wade, the legendary Ralph Cooper, Chili Bill, I think, comes in sometime, and others. Make sure you check them out. 90.9 FM. Download the KTSU app, and you can be able to listen to them from any of your mobile devices. Also, here we go right here. Kevin K says, too many grown-ups living vicariously through the kids, like Jay-Z said. They try to tell you how to do it, never did it. I think you have substance to the comment, Kevin K, but I really believe it's kind of like that's a worn out adage by them living through their kids, because I can only imagine if I had biological kids that I would want him to be. That's like if I didn't excel in that sport, and he looks like he's on a path that's ahead of what I could have wished I would have been, I would want him. Yeah, it's kind of like you. I would insert me mentally into him and saying like, hey, you know, if I was right here, man, I would do this. I would want. So I can see that happening, but at the same time, power can be used and power can be abused in our society. And it says therapeutic after these Astro losses. Yes, indeed, they're definitely after these Astro losses. We you guys, make sure you share the show if you haven't done so already. Share the show to your timelines, to your groups. And I'm looking now, and I want to give a shout out to Rick Nelson with the Pearland Texas Classic. I was telling you guys about the Coos Elite and the Jason Scott. They went up to Dallas. They won. The Gulf Coast Blue Chips didn't fare as well as expected with their teams up in Dallas as a whole. And I don't have the results in front of me, but I know that the 17s lost by more than 30 points yesterday, and that's a cause for concern. We put it like that. If you have put together a product and you lose by 30 plus points to a team that does not have a projected pro on it, well, at least 2 projected pros on it, that means the effort was not there. Because if you're giving effort, then you will not get beat by that many. And so that's in regard to shot to JL3. JL3 went to their older team. They went to California this past weekend, and at JL3 they went up there and took care of business. And you guys know I'm going to I'm looking in the 17U. I'm looking on my page, my social media, that is, and it says the JL3 A grade team won the junior EYBL, which was held in Dallas, they beat the Houston Hoops in overtime. They avenged a loss that took place earlier during the spring icebreaker. So this was the junior EYBL, which was held in the regional teams. And the last two teams standing represented or based in Houston. Let that soak in. These are rising ninth graders. So I told you the future looks very good. If this was DFW, had the final two teams standing, you know what they would be saying? They would be reminding you, DFW, collectively, and I tell you guys, during the high school seasons, DFW has reigned supreme. But during the grassroots season, now mind you, nowadays it's a little bit different because every other team has a player that's not from his region or not from his city. I get it. But the credit still goes to the program. Wins or losses. If the team goes over, nobody's going to give a damn where those kids are from. If they go undefeated, then people will try to make excuses. Well, you know, they got 2-3 kids from Louisiana. They got 3-4 kids from Alabama, from Arkansas. You know, people make excuses. But the fact still remains. That's that program, and it's based in that area. Last two teams standing was from Houston. You can't never take that away. And the event was played in Dallas. There were Dallas DFW teams in there. This is a junior EYBL we're talking about. Now, I'm looking to see. I don't know if you guys are watching right now. I'm looking, I see the 16U Fadwell of JL3. I don't have the results. And I don't have the desire to go scrolling down everybody's timeline to find out the results. Once again, just like you send that stuff to Paul Ben Cardi or you send that stuff to Eric Bossi, copy and paste the damn results and send it to me if you want favor. I'm vowing and I'm promising you that I would sift through the intel, condense it, and recirculate it. Promise. But if you don't, that's less work I got to do. It's a new media out there that you've subscribed to, that you pay to be on your side, that you sometimes can control the narratives that they engage in. But for the fear of you not supporting their efforts financially, so therefore, that's what you get what you pay for. Remember, everybody has a number, but not everybody can be bought. I'm looking, as we have in the time, the boom room. Let's know what is coming up on the top of the hour in 3 minutes as we get it now. I see you, Glenn Hickman. We're going to talk Pearland Classic. As I just said, shout to Rick Nelson. First of all, let's give this. I'm going to give acknowledgments to the champions of each division from the Pearland Classic. I was waiting till 1. I was going to do it earlier, but then got to talking about the academics, which it feels good to talk about student athletes who are actually excelling in the classroom, but are actually Division I prospects. Because in most cases, those kids, the vast majority of them are just not Division I prospects. That's why I'm proud to get, speaking of which, when we get right into Pearland, this Friday, at 5:30 p.m. at Houston Booker T. Washington High School. Chris McDermott, Otis Carter, and Abraham Kirksey, 3 of the senior starters for the Fighting Eagles basketball program, who went to state last year, 3 times regional finalists. They will announce their college picks together. They will share that stage and share that moment together. 5:30 this Friday at Booker T. Washington High School. It is open to the public. I like the fact that Chris McDermott actually kept his word this time by saying he's going to wait on his buddies, his homeboys, to share that moment together. So this will go down on Friday, and the reason I mentioned Chris McDermott because he's an exceptional student that bowls the student athlete. He's number 3 in his class academically, where he was when the last semester. I don't know what his title, how that works. That's good. That's great. And if you ever watched him and talked to him, he listens way more than he talks. He interprets with an ability to attempt to understand way more than he talks. That's a good quality to have. Now back to this Pearland Classic. 17 and under champions from this past weekend. Team LOE, right? Team LOE defeated the Mo City Ballers. Hold on, we got somebody chiming on in. Let me see something. All right? And I'm going to get him. I got to get him. I see who that is right there. That's Doug Jones. That's Doug. Let's get Doug Jones all. He's coming on join us as we'll go ahead on and add him on in there right now. Let's see something. Here come Doug. There we go. Welcome to the Chop Shop. This is Doug Jones, guys. Guys, you haven't seen him in a while. D. Doug Jones, who's right on time because we are talking about the Pearland Texas Classic. You were there all weekend. The champions for the 17U, Team LOE Blue, beat the Mo City Ballers 55-52. A real competitive game. What do you have to say about this Team LOE Blue, Doug Jones? Hold on. Let me get your volume right. Come on, let's go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Nah, it was a good competitive game. Team LOE, they had a really good weekend. They're led by a couple of unsigned seniors, Omar Gale from the Woodlands Christian, and Gavin Davis, who had 54 during the high school season. So, but most of the ballers gave them a battle. I don't know if they thought it was going to be that competitive a game, but nah, it was a good game. Bro.
Yeah, and of course I watched the championship, a portion of that game, and I seen that a couple of guys that caught my eyes was Trevion Ogburn, right, from Grand Oaks High School. Desmond Floyd, he's also at Grand Oaks High School. You mentioned Omar Gale just now. He's at the Woodlands Christian. He has some crazy hops for young fella right there. And that team there, they picked up a win. I like about them. They're based over on off the I-45 North area, from Spring out to the Conroe ISD. most of these kids. So this is like one of those repping their side of town, and they look good. They all, one of the rare things you find from an independent team, all of them had the same type of shoes on, except for one of them, and which is the vast majority. They had good shoes on. I think that was the young lady from WNBA's. I think that was Sabrina's, right? Yeah, that's what it looked like. So, okay, so and shout out to them and for taking care of business in this division, because teams like that, you know, they could have went anywhere else. They went and supported Rick Nelson and his efforts, and guess what? They got it done at the end, and good game in the championship. I thought they was gonna roll away from Mo City Ballers. Mo City Ballers fought hard. They wasn't scared of those dudes.
Yeah, they battled all weekend though. Like I thought Team LOE was the better team, and they would eventually pull away by double digits, but Mo City Ballers wouldn't have none of that.
Okay, so now in the 16 and under championship, you had Texas Takeover 16U, the Under Armour Rise team, 60 over the Gulf Coast Blue Chips 2026 team. Now, they had 53. Texas Takeover, this is their main 10th grade team. But for the Blue Chips, this is not their main 10th grade team.
No.
Right? So now, what you see in that game?
It was fiery, a lot of smack talking, a lot of energy. I think both teams have been wanting a piece of each other the whole weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
How you know?
You could just tell. You could just tell once the ball tipped, like it was gonna be one of those games. And what's crazy is Texas Takeover lost both of their pool games on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right, they did.
And but they found their rhythm on Saturday, and they were destroying people. But in the end, they just had too much talent. Byron Bibbs, Reggie Rito, Shy Francis, like those guys were just too much for the Blue Chips team. But the Blue Chips team, they fought hard though. They fought hard.
Now, what schools are some of these young men you just named that come attend right now? So
Byron Bibbs attends Pearland High School. Reggie Rito's at Summer Creek, and Shy Francis is at Stratford out there on the west side.
I described him as a better version of a Cedric Alley who started Klein Forest back in 2017. And
he's more skilled than Cedric was. Cedric was bigger, but this kid's more athletic, more skilled. And what's crazy, he's coming off a knee injury, and to see his explosiveness back like that, this fast, it's gonna be interesting for him.
And he's at what school again?
Stratford.
Stratford, not Stafford.
Stratford.
Stratford. And I think they're going into a different district this year. We'll see how that goes with Stratford and Shy Francis. Now, also speaking of that championship game, you mentioned Reggie Rito. This young man here is at what? Summer Creek?
Summer Creek.
A new head coach coming in with and you know, Coach Daniel Moore, and they have a slew of talent over at Summer Creek High School. Every week there's somebody different we're talking about.
Yes.
And Reggie Rito, actually in that championship win, he scored 15 of his game high 20 points in the second half, the decisive second half. Tell us a little bit about Reggie Rito.
Reggie Rito he's a scorer, feisty, can really shoot it, fast, quick. You'll recognize him in the gym because you'll hear his mom at all times. But he's really good though. He's gonna be looked at to be one of the leaders for Coach Moore when he takes over at Summer Creek.
Indeed. Now, speaking of, we're talking about Pearland Texas Classic recap right now. You guys here, we're gonna ask you to share the show because there are people that's probably that follow you that has a player or a team that they know that Doug Jones may mention in the upcoming minutes. We're on this Chop Shop. Also, the Bibbs young man, he finished with 12 in that win. For the Gulf Coast Blue Chips, they have the young man Zarek, number 0. He had 17 points in the
15
defeat.
on 3-pointers.
15 and 3-pointers, 5 trays in the second half. What do you think about this Blue Chips team?
That Blue Chip team they were pretty good. They played well all weekend. They actually beat the team that I thought was going to make the finals, which was the University of Hoops 2026. They beat them in the semifinals, but now the Zeri kid, I was looking for his last name. I could not find it. I did a lot of research this morning. But shout out to you, man. You shot the lights out yesterday and all weekend, actually. Like, he was one of the top performers for sure.
Yeah, indeed. He had 11 points in the semifinals as well. And that's kind of like, I'll tell you guys, that's why it's so important, if you're a team that's watching, when you're playing in these events, it doesn't take but an extra 5 minutes to insert your roster. If you insert your roster, you never know who's watching. Then that way now it makes it easy for a person to correctly and properly identify you. Remember, you got new media, you got old media, right? If you're gonna go in this new media, in this new era that we're in, keep your rosters populated. If that's not the case, at least have a copy of them when you go to each of these events. And then that way now when you see guys with cameras filming on the sideline, give them a copy of your roster so that they can correctly know who is on the court when they're making these videos. And if you have scouts in attendance, give them a copy of your roster so that they can know who these are. Nothing worse than a mom or a dad seeing their babies being improperly identified, or somebody else is giving the credit for the work that your baby did on that court. And then we got to come back on the next day and whisper the correction. Let's get better at this, guys. Now, talking Pearland Classic, the 15 and under championship, it ended up not even finishing. But 2 teams from the same organization. Boy, they was ready to get. Talking about people that wanted to piece each other. These 2 teams did. Who was there?
It was CME Elite Fob and CME Elite. What is it? Arnold. Hold on, let me make sure I'm saying the right name. But yeah, they were Alfred. I'm sorry, CME Elite Alfred. Yeah, they wanted to piece each other all weekend, and it was shaping up to be an intense game. Unfortunately, one of the kids got hurt, and they decided to just split the winnings and take home the chip. I mean, they was gonna do it anyway, so they just decided to call the game. But nah, I watched a lot of the CME Elite Fall team. That team is really good. Like, they are really good. They're probably one of the best independent 15U teams in the city, for sure.
And somebody has a message for you, Doug. They say, turn your mic off.
I don't have no mic. Turn my mic off.
And they say you're echoing out there.
Hold on, I'm gonna put my headphones in. Hold on.
All right, don't knock nothing over now, Doug. Don't knock nothing over now. We got Doug Jones live with us on the Chop Shop, guys. Make sure you share the show right now. We're talking about the Pearland Texas Classic, which took place this past weekend over at C.E. King High School, the gym, and of course MacArthur MacArthur High School and 9th grade campus alike. Saturday and Sunday, there were no Friday games. Everything pretty much went fluid. And we are going through championship row right now with Doug Jones. Mentioned the 15 and under championship game was called, and as a result, there were co-champions with the 2 CME teams. Shout to that organization, which they're actually based on the east side of town. So that means that C.E. King, North Shore area around along that beltway, this is where most of those kids, most of them or many of them within that program dwell. It's a great thing. I think programs like M&E Elite probably inspired or help bring attention to the talent along the East Beltway. What you think about that?
Yeah, that's true. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Emily Elite was the first that I can remember from that side of town to really like take kids that nobody really knew about and just put them on a platform, and they did well. And CMB Elite is and put them and CMB Elite is following those footsteps. They have a really good organization. Super supportive, like love their kids and supportive of every and it's not just their program, like they support a bunch of other kids too that don't even play for themselves. Shout out to those guys, Coach Clinton, Prayer, and all those guys over there at CME Elite.
Yes. Now, of course, with the 14U championship, right? We had that was played at another site, but let me pull up the championship from that 14U game, and that was the Trey Young Texas Adidas 3SSB 46 Galveston County Dynasty Elite 39. 46-39. And guess what, Doug? We went through 4 champions, 4 age division. All 4 championships were by single digits thus far. How about that?
That's good schedule.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. It ain't just good scheduling. It's good. that means it was a good championship game, competitive.
Yeah, it was a good championship game. That
now,
16 championship game was really good too.
Yes. Now we get to the 13U. How about this? The 13U, I actually got to see the end of this game, and this team I had saw earlier Sunday morning. And I was watching a lot of the young ones over at the gym. And that is the world famous Savages. This is the 7th grade. They scored 70 and outlasted the Swaveway players who finished with 68. 70 to 68. And let me tell you guys something.
I bet the energy in that game was crazy.
Ooh, was it? Was it? I mean, listen. The energy was so crazy that the referee had to pause. They had to get the security down there and say, hold on, and protect the ref. They was gonna get on the ref. They was gonna get on his butt, and they were gonna. Both teams wanted to get the referee. They was like, hold on. So they protected him. But let me give you guys a couple of names. These 7th graders, because when guys do this well, I can't let them go unnoticed. And let me tell you something. For the world famous Savages, the kid wore 0, and his name is Amari Ford. Doug, Amari Ford in the 7th grade scored 25 points in the championship game. And it was a balanced 25, meaning that he had 15 in the first half, which means, of course, 10 in the decisive second half. Also, he wasn't the only one in double digits. They had 3 other players on that team in double digits. Want to give a shout out to a young man by the name of, it looks like Michael Delaney. Yeah, Michael Delaney had 16 points in that. Also, Sivion Hines had 13, and Aiden Beres finished with 11 for the 7th grade world famous Savages. What I like about this team is they registered their team as the Savages, Doug. And the day before the event, they loop back around and say, can you change the name of our team? I said, hold on, wait a minute. What happened? Y'all done broke up already? They say, oh no. We're not the Savages. We're the world famous Savages. I said, okay.
Let people know they world renowned, man. I ain't mad at it.
I said, okay. Okay, now, on the other end of defeat, you're talking about cooking. That was a young man, number 4, that I noticed from the Swaveway players. Right? And I just found his name. Vontre Boone. Vontre Boone. He has a chance. Of course, these are only 7th graders, and just right now, we're just going to live in the moment and enjoy this right now. But amongst his peers in this area, this Vontre Boone, Doug, he had 8 at the half.
Mm-hmm.
Scored 20 in the second half. Team almost won. He had 20 in the second half. He was trying to get that W. And of course, he has a teammate named Landon Domio. He had 19. And last but not least, Greg Sims finished with 10 in the defeat. I just want to give these young fellas, give them youngins some love. And here's the thing why I like this as well. If you're watching right now, these guys are 7th graders, will be 8th graders next year. These score sheets from like this, I keep this stuff. I'm going to keep this score sheet, right? And I go through it and I compare it with my rosters, right? You see? Compare it with my rosters. And then because I'm looking to see what middle schools these young people go to. Because that way now I know who to keep an eye on for the middle school city championships, which takes place next February. That way now you get to see if these guys producing right now, the top ones, I need to follow their middle schools. Let their middle school coaches know. I already let the parents know, because if your kid doing this well right now, he should definitely run through his district. That's how my mind be operating. Just letting you know, pulling back the curtain for you, Doug. Show you how the OG be operating. Now, speaking of course, we're talking Pearland Classic. That was the 13 under champions. Now, that's 5 straight divisions that were decided by single digits. But this next one wasn't so much the case, because Doug Jones, often when it's media guys, you got this new media. It's an unwritten rule. You're really not supposed to be rooting for one of the teams that's playing. You're not supposed to be rooting openly. I look over at Doug Jones, and he had full flares turned into Robert Hatter while he's watching Mike Collins mode. I'm talking about Doug rooting for the team was the Port Arthur Storm. The Port Arthur Storm. They were playing the Gulf Coast Blue Chips green. And Doug over there, he's on the opposite side, damn near coaching the little kids. Doug, what was up with that?
Hey man, that's my guys, man. 2-year program. Started off by one of the kids that I used to coach when I used to coach AAU named Vaughn Thomas. He's doing a great job with that organization, and yeah, man, that team is pretty good. They are pretty good, and they're getting better. They love playing with each other. And yeah, man, the Port Arthur came out of me, man. I'm sorry. That's all I know.
Well, of course, they got the W, and GCBC Green had to look like the taller team. They were down by 20 at one point in the second half before coming back and losing only by 12, 59-47. That was the final score in that 6th grade championship at the Pearland Texas Classic. Now, as we move on, I give you the 11 under championship was won by the Trey Young Texas Adidas. They beat Pro Skills Killeen, Texas 46-32. In the 10 and under, the world famous Savages won another title, beating up on the JL3 Elite Blue by a tune of 30-17. And the 9th grade championship, the Houston Trailblazers 38, Baskets Academy 22. And also, guys, we had a couple of we had an 8 and under. I forgot about that. I actually saw that 8 and under championship, and which I tweeted out my thoughts, a couple of thoughts from that particular game, which I did not actually plan on staying to the end. But it was so climatic when I was walking through the gold court at the gym, and I'm seeing that this one team didn't have but 4 players on the court. And I'm looking around, I'm like, wait a minute. This team is winning by 10 points with 4 players. And I just saw the other team earlier that morning whoop up on the team. I'm like, how are they losing to? Let me see what this young fella's got. And sure enough, the tag 2034 had the young fella Sebastian Jones. And Sebastian Jones, he did his thing in that particular game. However, the team had 4 players. One of those fouled out. They had to finish the game with only 3 players on the court, and they was holding on that lead. That league was steady evaporating. It was about 2 minutes to go, Doug, and the other team was they couldn't stop them from scoring, and they were double teaming these triplets all over the court, and they just ran out of gas, and they still had a chance to win, but it was no way to stop those guys on the other end. All you needed was a rebound, and that would have preserved it possibly. But when it was all said and done, the Mo City Ballers Black prevailed. And with the win 30-27, the Mo City Ballers, that is, young fella scored on the 3-point play with about 8 seconds to go to seal that win. I'm trying to look up his name. It done passed by me. Most City Ballers had so many teams in this event. And there it is, Caden Jimerson. They call him CJ. Caden Jimerson. He was masterful. He wore number 24. I saw him play earlier that morning. He's a lefty. And we talking, come on guys, we're talking about second graders. So I'm just talking about the moment. This ain't got nothing to do with what we think they're gonna be in middle school. Hell, he's ain't even made it halfway through elementary school yet. So right now, once again, we're enjoying the moment. It was a memorable moment because there was a lot of good, clean smack that was talked back and forth from both sides during that game. Mind you, you're losing by double digits in the second half to a team that only had 3 players on the court after one fouled out. So shout out to them guys. And of course, on the girls side of things, there were 2 girls divisions at the Pearland Texas Classic. There were the JV division won by the Houston Flames, 26-21 over the Mo City Ballers 9th grade. And in the varsity girls division, the team from out of the Bryan College Station area called Aggieland Sports Alliance beat up on the Mo City Ballers Chaw by a tune of 48-17. Shout out to them and those young ladies. I give a shout out to, let me see, in all fairness, Doug, I want to, no, they didn't put their roster in. God dog it. We'll maybe on tomorrow or Wednesday, I will have obtained the roster for Aggieland so that I can give credit to those young ladies who fared well in the championship and the semis. That's the Pearland Texas Classic. Now, we'll slide over, Doug, while this was going on yesterday. Of course, Hal Pastner made his his season debut back into the event operating spectrum. And with his event, it was held over at the MI3 Center. And I did not get a chance to make it over there. I didn't have a schedule. And Hal reached out to me last week, and I want to touch Hal, because I wasn't on the Chop Shop. He wanted to come on and talk about the event and promote it, but I didn't think that I would be on, but maybe one day last week. So that was the reason that I couldn't get him booked, because I know being able to do the conversation, I wanted to be able to be on. So I was ripping and running with meetings, getting the schedule done for the Pearland Texas Classic, which, in case you guys didn't know, some people love doing jigsaw puzzles. Some people love playing games on the internet. Some people love reading books. I love doing schedules. So just as much as you love reading a book, just as much as you love playing golf, just as much as you love to bowl or play video games or look or scroll up and down TikTok, I don't do any of them. I love to do schedules. Just, I guarantee you, just as much as you love to do all those other things. That I might be that weird, but to a good fault. I love doing schedules. So if you got an event and you need a schedule done, guess what? Reach out to me, whip it up. Speaking of which, the CE King Spring League, guess who did this schedule? This takes place every Wednesday night over at CE King. It's on the RCS Sports app, and that is CE King Varsity Spring League, and we have some news with you guys on CE King on tomorrow. That's and I'll share with you guys on that. But it's going to be pretty big, and a pretty big fella in the cap. Now, we was talking about Hal Pastner's event. Houston Hoops won that event, I heard, right? The 16s and the 17s. Did they both win?
I know the 17s won.
17s won. They played Ben X Ballers. And the word circulated on the previous day or on Friday or whenever that Ben X Ballers beat the Houston Hoops by double digit. Their main EYBL team. But then Houston Hoops came back and avenged that loss in the championship game by knocking out the Ben X Ballers. I don't have a final score, but that was fitting and that was expected. What do you think? What did you get? Any notes from that particular matchup?
They won by 23. The Hoops, it was 80-57. But what I was told, they wanted to get back from, you know how it is when you're an EYBL team. You lose a game to an independent team, everybody run to social media. So that's what happened. The Hoops came back yesterday with it on their mind and smacked them pretty much.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word.
And so I'm looking for. Here's my thing. I noticed on when the Ben X Ballers beat the Houston Hoops. Of course, they went to social media, which a lot of independent teams do. And you tell the world, which ain't nothing, you know, you got the win, you bragged on it, you put the score sheet up, but then you play them on Sunday and nobody can find the score sheet. So that's the part. If you're gonna be consistent. Be consistent. Because it helps for kids to understand that what it takes in order to keep pushing through. One win doesn't make the season. One loss doesn't make the season. But if you come back, you got to own that. Now, I asked Ben Simmons, and I have a statement from him, what happened to cause a disparity from you beating a team by double digits to losing to them by double digits. And he says, which he gave some good understanding. I'll put it like that. He says that they lost Harry, the kid Harry that went to Marion.
Harrison Clear.
Yeah. They lost Harrison Clear. He got hurt in the previous game, right? And the day before. They also lost a young man who scored double digits in the first win against the Hoops, or in the win against the Hoops. They lost him. His name was Tumas. Tumas hurt his back, but he tried to play and couldn't. So the Hoops played well. They shot the ball incredibly well from three-point land. They jumped out on us in the first half. We won the second half, but the lead was too big to overcome. We just didn't have the horses today. I applaud Ben Simmons because you owned it. The loss, you gave facts. They didn't have the one kid, Harrison. Clear is a very important piece, but then the other kid, too much. Now, without them two, now, now, of course, they had two more, another 7-footer that didn't play in neither game. So you can't miss what you never had. So we're not going to play that card because you didn't have the 7-footer when you beat them. But to lose those two, you were definitely not going to beat the hoops with those. Not saying you would have beat them with them for a second consecutive time, but that wasn't going to be the case. But I love coaches who will just call it like without trying to degrade or devalue the other team. You try to tell all the reasons why we didn't do this, we didn't have this player. They gave them credit. These guys shot the ball well. The lead was too far to overcome. Now, meanwhile, Joel 3 went to California, or 17U. They had won a couple of games down in Houston last week, kind of tuned them up for this trip. Took a lot of scrutiny, not a lot, a little bit of scrutiny, not a lot of scrutiny. Some people questioned opponents, why did they play against this team, this team. That's what you do when you're sparring to get ready. So at the same time, that was all on the table. That was for them to play because so many other teams opted to not play, or they could have easily came over and played against JL3. They knew what time they were playing, but they didn't. JL3 went to California. And what did they do up there?
Beat the brakes off of everybody. Went 4-0, won all games by double digits. I watched 3 of the games. And that team is just good. Like, I know it's a thing to where, like, if it's not yours, you can't really compliment it. But people got to realize, like, this is the best team in Houston that's ever seen. They play well together. The pieces fit. Christian Jones played really, really well this weekend for them. And, yeah, man, they just handled their business. They did what a team that can whip peace them supposed to do. Went up there, handled their business, and good tune-up for the first EYBL session, which I think is this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it was good for those guys. I think they need this is just me talking. I think they need another big, like a big to complement their other pieces. But no, that team is really good though.
Yeah, I mean that's and they are the JL3, as I've stated numerous times to different people. They are the measuring stick of all 17 and under grassroots teams in the state of Texas this summer. They are the team that all of those, I don't care what sneaker line you are affiliated with, you hope that you can get a chance to get in front of them to beat them. And here's the thing. There's not many teams, grassroots teams, under 17 and under that has featured 4 players ranked in the top 100. 4 in the top 100. On this one particular team. And that, of course, would be Hudson Greer, Nigel Walls, Sebastian Williams-Adams, and, of course, Sheldon Henderson. Right? All 4. So, when you have that, this is a combination. Expectations immediately propel upward for you. You are expected to win or dominate at every turn and every corner. That is extremely hard to do because the rest of those players, all of these players, think about only 3 of them have played together. Hudson, he's just joining these guys. Then you have about 3 other new faces on this team. So out of that 8-man rotation, 4 of them are probably new. That's not easy to do and still come out the gates and create wins. Now, When is the last time that has happened? That is just not the first, and it ain't the last. It happened 10 years ago with the Houston Hoops. They had Justice Winslow, Justin Jackson. Was it Keith? Was Keith Frazier?
Kelly Oubre was on it. What
Kelly Oubre and Keith Frazier. That was 4 on that team, right? And for a minute, I want to say Kadeem Ladden may have cracked the top 100.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even count a young De'Aaron Fox. He was a puppy. He wasn't, they brought him up and just to make, I'm not going, But also it happened with the Houston Hoops with Tyrese Maxey, with, what's the point guard name? Chris went to Oklahoma, then went to Oregon. Well, you had Chris Harris, but you had the other young man.
Went to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
He went to Oklahoma, then he transferred to Texas, to
Devion
Oklahoma,
Harmon.
then Texas Tech.
Yeah, Devion
Harmon. So Devion Harmon, Chris Harris, Tyrese Maxey, then the young man that went to Oklahoma State, a shooter that ended up at TCU, I think. Anderson. Look, Anderson.
Avery Anderson.
Yeah, Avery Anderson. That's the last time I think that. So it's, and then of course we had the. I'm not sure if the Houston Defenders of 2013 class had 4. We know the Harrison twins. We know Derek Griffin but was Jonathan Miley top 100 at the time?
Shaquille Clear was it?
Shaquille Clear may have been early on, but was he in the 12th grade? We'll go ahead on and give between all of those, one of them was. So we'll count them as one. My point, this doesn't happen a whole lot. So this team right here with the Houston, with the JO3, is just it's basically what, when the stars align right and you have the talent, and when kids decide to play with each other, and then it becomes even Steven when you're going and competing against one of those East Coast teams, or one of those, you got teams like the Oakland Soldiers. Look, they're patching up. The Oakland Soldiers, they got AJ, right? AJ DeBunster now with the Oakland Soldiers. So teams are patching up around the country. It's okay for them. Why it ain't okay for JO3? It makes the state look good, guys. That's what it does. And you get off when it comes to teams from out of the area or from within the state of Texas. When they go and they travel outside of our borders and they kick butt, give them a shout. Let the world know. You don't even have to give them an @ but just let the world know. There goes Texas. Don't mess with Texas. Matter of fact, we can just create a hashtag, DMWT. They'll know what it means sooner or later. Mm-hmm. DMWT. They all understand. If they already despise you, they already are envious of you. They already pissed off because the McDonald's game had been in this state 2 years in a row, and it went to a city didn't put not a single boy in there in 2 years, and despite it being in your city, that's the first time that has happened in modern day history. And they hate the fact, all these different events, they hate the fact that you got the guy controlling the NBPA Top 100 camp lives in this state. You hate the fact that one of our high schools, our public high schools, was finished the season at #1 in the country. Duncanville, right? Two seasons ago. They don't embrace that.
And now Plano East head coach was the national coach of the year by Max Brooks too.
National coach of the year. Shout out to coach. They don't like that. So if they don't like it, give them a reason not to like it. Give them a real reason. Let them know. DMWT.
Hey man, ain't nothing wrong with playing the villain. Like the media made Angel Reese the villain. She ran with it. You know what I'm saying? So use it
Indeed.
as fuel.
Indeed. So we got now, Doug. We shift gears, and we got it's 43 minutes past the hour, and of course, guys, don't forget. Speaking of free, give you a chance, Doug. We got one more topic to cover, but first, want to give. We got this weekend, JRB Events is doing another, by popular demand, a free basketball event. You get to pick your day on which you want to play. This has never been done in the history of grassroots basketball. Once again, it ain't never been done. Whereas a person is offered teams to play 2 games on either Saturday or Sunday, and you get to pick your time based on first come, first serve. Registration closes tomorrow. This is the Kingwood Live, not to be confused with the Kingwood Classic. Kingwood Live is the name of this event. It's going to take place this Saturday, this Sunday in Houston. All teams do not have to pay to play any games. No admission for the teams. Now, you can go to the front of RCS Sports, that website.com, and you can click to reserve your space. Do that and get it. We only can take, based on our space that we have allotted, we only can take 80 teams. We were on 60 teams when I woke up this morning. I'm telling you, we can't take 80, but more than 80 teams. It's 80-ish. So if you plan on playing, you better get your spot. I'm just telling you. And then you pick your day, and if Saturday becomes filled, then you will have no option but to play on Sunday if you want to participate. Now, meanwhile, in a couple of weeks, we're only a few weeks away. Doug, you have your signature event. Tell us about it.
Yes. The Doug's Dozen Classic takes place May 17th through the 19th. This is my 5th year doing it, thanks to Jim and Rick Nelson, who handed it to me. During COVID, started with 30 teams, grew to 60, then 90. Last year we had 149. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Filling up fast. Definitely need to go get your spots registered for it. I'll put the link on the front of RCS Sports too as well. For the event. So
and that is,
it's a month away, so it's coming up fast.
That is the Doug Dozen, guys. Do not procrastinate for getting your team into this event. That's in a couple of weeks, the weekend of May the 17th. And lastly, Doug, want to get into with you is we have the transfer portal. The number's up to 47 players from Greater Houston that got into the transfer portal, and it is about to end, right? It is about to end, meaning that the portal, the transfer, the time allotted, the 45 days, is close to concluding. What you think about these numbers, Doug? And tell us about some of the kids. First of all, let's shower some of the kids who committed out of the portal, who got in there, got it done, got the hell up out of there.
So most recently, the guys that committed, off the top of my head, Brian Gordon, that was Ed Lamar, he's going to Texas A&M Kingsville. Hold on, I'm about to pull up the list because I don't want to do these kids in the service. But my thoughts on the portal is, man, like it's starting to seem like it's more of a fad than anything. Like, I'm gonna just get in the portal just to be getting in the portal. And it's starting to be like free agency too. The more money I can go get, that's why I'm gonna go to school. So Ashton Smith recently committed to South Dakota.
Okay.
Tulsa last year. Brian Miles was at Prairie View last year. He committed to Nickel State recently.
Okay, Nickel State. That's a good rebounder for Nickel State.
Yeah. Yeah, he led the SWAC and rebounder. He led the SWAC and rebounder last year.
Who else we got?
Jonathan Massey was at Longwood. He's going to North Texas.
Okay, that's a big pickup for North Texas. You lose Ruben, pick up Jonathan Massey, or you lose Aaron Scott, pick up Jonathan Massey. It's not a big. That's not a bad consolation, if you want to call it that.
Ruben committed to Michigan on his visit last week.
Okay, that's good. Good for Ruben Jones.
Good for Ruben. Good for Mike Boynton, who's the assistant coach there now. He has ties to the Texas area recruiting wise. So those are the most recent ones. I think Amari Abram is going to come off the board soon. He was on a visit to Louisiana Tech this weekend, along with the guy who's not on the Division I transfer list, but was at the D2, Sean Elkington. That was at Crosby and went to St. Edwards.
Okay. What about him?
Yeah, he was on he was at Louisiana Tech this weekend on a visit.
Okay. That's pretty good then. Pretty good.
Yeah, he's grown from 6'8.5" too. He left high school at 6'6". He's 6'8.5" now. So yeah, the portal's interesting, man. You hear these crazy numbers that kids are asking. Like a recent transfer from Duke asked for $950,000 at his new school. You hear kids asking for $1.2 million. It's crazy. I don't know what they're gonna probably do something to stop it, but I don't know what they can do. Cause like they open Pandora's box.
Well, either they're gonna get it or they ain't, and that's the whole thing. Now, see with the days.
Question is, these boosters, like how far do you go? Some boosters are crazy, like they'll do whatever they can to win. But some will be like, I'm not about to go broke doing this every year.
Well, I'm looking at this list, and I'm gonna give you some of the kids I'm hearing. I'm hearing either Chris Johnson or Arterio Morris to McNeese.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Okay. I'm hearing Amari Abram. You mentioned that. You hinted at that, possibly to Louisiana Tech. Right? It's not a far drive. They wanted him. They've been on him early on. He recruited him out of high school. So there you go with that.
Alvin has recruited the kid 3 times. This is his 3rd time.
Yeah. So I can see you go where you are wanted.
Yeah.
Brandon Love from Bush High School, Texas State. He's a kid that led him in rebounding, I think, this year. And he's going to land. He's going to be okay. Yeah. Now, Braylon Bush, who's at his 2nd Division I program, went to McNeese. And I think either he went or was going to go and try to walk on at Lamar. And then he ended up at Oklahoma, at Northwestern State, up in Natchitoches, Louisiana. Now he's on the move again. Where do you see Braylon Bush ended up at?
I honestly don't know. Somebody mentioned Lamar, but I don't see that happening. That's a great mystery. I honestly don't know. I don't even know why he left Northwestern. Like, he got a lot of playing time, started, brand new coach loved him. I think that was one of those. It's the popular thing to do, so I'm gonna see what it looks like.
Okay.
We have you picked up Nick Anderson from St. Thomas.
That's a kid from the private school, right? In Houston.
Yeah, he went to that school. Well, he started at the school in I forgot his name, but then he went back to Clear Creek his senior year.
Yeah, after the season was over, I think they won state twice. I think they won.
Yeah.
Start with a G. Their private school, and but that's one thing about Byron Smith. you have to, and it's like many coach. Don't get this stuff twisted. It ain't just a Byron Smith thing. You have to. A certain type of player can excel and get plenty of freedom with Byron Smith. But if you're not a certain type of player, then you're gonna crack on him. You have to be a certain type of player with B. Smith, and that's the head coach. Also, I'm hearing Jarrell Colbert to McNeese. This haven't happened. I'm telling you rumors now, guys. Jarrell Colbert, remember now, he played for Will Wade at LSU, right? Now, Will Wade is the coach at McNeese. You couldn't move the needle at LSU at the time. You weren't good enough. But you definitely could be and should be good enough to move the needle in the Southland Conference. So, which is much closer to home. And guess what? The thing is, this young man, when it's all said and done, will probably have broken a record for the most coaches that you've played under in an 8 to 9 year window. That means from 9th grade to the senior year of college. He would probably have surpassed the record at just Jarrell Colbert or tied at the least case scenario, the most amount of different coaches. This is young man started off at Sam Rayburn High School in Houston, and it's funny because that same high school has 3 young men that are names are in the portal right now, along with Jalen White and Harrison Black, who walked on at Austin Peay. Otherwise, we got time for a couple more. Derek, I'm going to ask you where you think they're going to land, or what you're hearing on Keontae Cornelius, who's at Jackson State, Justin Hill, who played at Georgia, started at Longwood, and now is on the move again. What you think?
I'm hearing Paul Mills at Wichita State is really high on Justin Hill. I think he's supposed to go visit soon, but I could definitely see that happening. Him going on to Wichita State.
And any word on Keontae Cornelius?
No, I haven't heard too much about Keontae. I need to tap in with his pop, see what the look is.
Speaking of Lamar, their leading rebounder Terry Anderson from this past season's in the portal. Any updates on where you think he might land?
He's supposed to be going on visit to like High Point and a couple schools like that. Maybe they all low majors, but a little bit higher than Lamar in my opinion. But I heard High Point was high on him, and Longwood as well.
So now we have a young man, Michael Oakes, went up to Mike Davis in Detroit Mercy, gave him a shot. He had moved away from Houston, went to a prep school out in California, and now he finds himself in search of a home. And in his basketball, I say it all the time, eventually they all end up where they belong. And it can't possibly be fun basically living out of a bag, meaning that you get somewhere and you go to a new city across the country, and you're gone 8 months later. You go to another city, and you're gone, and then because each one you leave from, that alumni base is not going to be supportive of you, or not likely to.
No.
And so then now everybody's influenced by somebody. In a quest, I remember people telling me, I was talking about this kid's gonna play Division I. It's because you go to a Division I school doesn't make you a Division I player. If that's the case, all the walk-ons in the world Division Is. They about to find out in this portal.
Michael Oak's situation too. He left and went to SoCal for a while.
Yes.
SoCal Academy first.
Yeah.
Then he got the opportunity to go to Detroit Mercy and was there for 2 months. 2 or 3 months, and now he's had to find another home. So I think. I mean, he's a 7-footer that's skilled. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get an opportunity. It's just who's gonna give him that opportunity.
Yeah, that's
But
going to, and
another
somebody,
name
he's
that
going to land somewhere, but we talking about Division One. Remember, the goal,
Yeah.
see, this wasn't part of the play.
Yeah.
To be, the part of the play was you're a no-brainer. You're this. You're one and done. Now, speaking of, last but not least, as we creep up on, of course, where's Wesley Yates III going to go? Doug?
So Wesley Yates is going on a visit to Louisville, and then he's going on a visit to Oklahoma State as well. So those are probably two of the top choices right now that he has. I know I think he's going on Louisville maybe in the next couple of days or so. And it's when Oklahoma State called me this morning and told me that he's coming on a visit really soon. So. And Coach Lutz actually came to Beaumont to sit in front of Big West and his mom this past weekend. So Oklahoma State is definitely invested in him.
Now, of course, I got a question for you real quick, Doug, from Odyssey. He says, where's Aaron Scott going to end up at?
Aaron Scott has a lot of choices. I think Texas Tech is high on this list. Also, I've heard Gonzaga as well. I heard Gonzaga as well. So he's definitely gonna have his choices. Of course, Rick, man, you know I gotta represent the best school in the country.
Rick, I was trying to change that color on there, the burgundy. I was trying to change the color of the burgundy.
Can't do that.
On that.
Labor Day Classic coming soon. Another butt whipping.
Now, we have a new coach now. Be careful.
Man, it don't matter, man. It's one of them things.
We got a new coach. We got eyeballs now. Eyeballs coming with EWs now. We got eyeballs now. That's Chris Dishman. I call him eyeballs. Eyeballs, but them eyeballs about that. Hey, we got eyeballs, man. That's what we got, man. Okay now.
Man, crazy, man. I heard Baker actually Ethan Yancey entered the draft. I know Paul DeWall did. Norway DeWall did. I don't know about Ethan Yancey.
Yeah, you put it on the RCS Sports. You typed it into the box in NBA draft.
No, that was Paul DeWall. I didn't.
No, for Ethan Yancey, you have NBA draft.
I thought I had Paul DeWall for that.
On Galway DeWall, no, you put it on the one above him.
Oh, I gotta go change it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know Ethan Yancey was going. He was in the portal. In fact, let me go check his Twitter. I did see something like that. Let me see. I'm looking it up right now. No, he just say he's entering the portal. He's leaving Southern Illinois Edwardsville and just entering the portal. That was 4 days
Okay.
ago.
All right.
Nah, Norway DeWall is entering the draft though.
Now,
So you could have two kids. You have two kids that would have been on one of those Bush teams in the NBA draft. Him and Tyler Smith. They would have been on the same. They were on the same team.
and they both left Fort Bend Bush High School and transferred away. They both played on the same middle school team that went to the finals in the middle school city championships when they were in the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fascinating. You got to be able to keep that talent from getting away. Now, at the some cases, some things are just beyond the point of repair.
Yeah.
But
Like,
I see somebody asked you a question. Somebody asked you, he said, I wonder if Will Wade stays a few more years and keeps going to the tournament, will he try to get me? Let me tell you something. If Will Wade makes it to the tournament again, he's not going to be there. He's not going to. He's going to leave McNeese. The walls, the window of opportunity was open, but a couple of gigs that Will Wade probably thought he had earmarked and could have gotten in, those were filled. A lot of people got cold feet and didn't want to go out there on that ledge with Will Wade because in order to hire him, you would have had to go and basically get permission from the. You had to go and speak to the SEC, brass, because of his conditions of his punishment. So, from what I understand, so therefore there were people that did not want to do so. Obviously, with their actions, whether they wanted to or not, they didn't do it. So, but we're way to be fine in Lake Charles. He has changed the entire dynamic. Think about this. They're giving tickets away, sweet tickets or whatnot, to the high rollers that are in the casinos, or getting, or that's a ticket now. If the Cowboys are playing in town, remember they call them the Cajun Cowboys.
Cajun Cowboys.
Something like that, and
Yeah.
that, I mean, it's a spike upward in the support. They're selling out down there. Did you see the Southland Conference? The Southland Conference had a packed house.
I went to the one of the conference tournament games, and I was amazed the atmosphere in that place, man. Like, he got it rolling over there. It was sold out. The energy was crazy. Yeah. Shout out to Will Wade and the direction he has, and he's getting talent over there. But
Yeah, lastly, somebody asked a question for you. Somebody asked you a question. Say, does any of the Division II schools like the Lone Star Conference or the Gulf South Conference, do they reach out to you for unsigned seniors, JUCOs, and transfer with Houston ties?
Absolutely. Every day. In fact, like I mentioned earlier, Brian Gordon left Lamar, going to Texas A&M Kingsville, have a school in Oklahoma. I'm not gonna say their name, but they're reaching out for kids. And this is a Division II school, reaching out for kids every day. So it's just up to the kids not to look down on the Division II school, if that makes sense. Because the opportunities are there.
And how do they not look down on it? What?
Realizing that portal is real. You got all conference dudes in Power 5 in the portal. Like, a school is not going to look at a high school senior, unsigned senior, over a kid that was all ACC. Like, it's not going to happen. It's just being realistic.
And of course, Texas A&M Kingsville, you mentioned with Brian Gordon, that's you went from Lamar to A&M Kingsville, and they're in the Lone Star Conference, I think. What conference? What level is that? It's Kingsville.
That's Division II. It's a Division II school.
So, if Brian Gordon thought he was a Division I player, then the market just showed him and proved to him that he's not.
Yeah.
Right now.
And then, like, you've seen it before. A kid transfer down, go kill it, and boost his stock back up to go back Division I for, like, maybe his grad year. So you gotta go where you're gonna play. You can't just sit on the. Unless you're cool with it, just sitting on the bench, being a practice guy. But
yeah, and then of course, Kevin Freeman asked you a question as we get ready to close things out. Let me get him up on the screen. And he said, "Who you got in the NBA games?" You see it?
I saw it. Talk about tonight.
Yeah.
Let me see who played tonight. All right, so you got the Magic and the Cavs. I'm gonna take the Cavs in game 2, go up 2-0. I'm taking the Knicks because Maxey not healthy, so I'm taking the Knicks to go up 2-0. He's sick. He might not even play tonight. And I'm taking the Nuggets over the Lakers. It's just a bad matchup for the Lakers against the Nuggets. So I'm taking all 3 teams to go up 2-0 tonight.
You taking all of the home teams. It sound like.
Yep. If I had to pick a team that could win on the road, it would be the Lakers. But I just don't see it happening. I got a bad matchup for them.
Of course, now. Of course, you guys don't forget. Just tune in. We'll ask you guys to share the show on your way out the door. That's Doug Jones. Then took a blast through a lot of different topics. We dealt with the transfer portal. They let you know what some kids are rumored to possibly be landing at. You can go and check that whole list out on rcssports.com. It's right there on my hat. rcssports.com, all one word, and you guys can go. Also, shout out to my wife, Sandra. She's sitting there watching. She said she gives you a shout out, and we definitely gonna put up on the screen, y'all, right there. And we got Walter Yates. And we got Walter Yates. He's chiming in as well. He's getting gets healthy over on his side of town, and he gives a shout to you as well, Doug. Rick Goffney gave us some news about the Campbell Center's getting a makeover, screens and things. Yes, hopefully, of course, the season opener will be returning to the Campbell Center, and they are definitely getting a new, screens. They're doing the football stadium. They rebuilt that outside on that complex, but it's going to be some different ambiance in the basketball each of the next 2 years. Also, since we're giving announcements, we're giving you also the Hoopsgiving Classic will take place November the 27th, and that event will take place at C.E. King High School. It's moved over from Atascocita, and we are locked in, of course, thanks to Sandra Menchaca and her ties in the district. We moved on over. We'll take it over to Sheldon ISD, where that's the Hoopsgiving Classic, and we have a nice lineup this season again, and as well as the season opener. That season opener is, when you see that Friday, Doug, I might let you see a sneak peek at that Friday schedule. I have the schedule already done for the season opener. That's how good it is. Well, I have Friday schedule already. Well, I have the whole schedule already done. It's right here. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah. You gotta wait till.
Show it to me Saturday.
Ooh, man. It's fire. 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 We got everything we want in this season opener. But anyway, guys, it's time to slide on down. Dino's back. Yabba dabba do this thing. Also, make sure you share the show before you walk out this door. On the Chop Shop, Doug, we definitely appreciate you for tuning in with us. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Of course, Robert Hall will be right back in the saddle on tomorrow, as well as now. Meanwhile, don't forget, get over to rcssports.com. If you have a grassroots team, go on and take one of the remaining 20 slots for the Kingwood Live. Kingwood Live takes place this weekend, a totally free event. You can play 2 games on one day at no cost to your team. This is our way of giving back to the community and to help fight the rising costs for your babies to play youth sports. And to give you guys a last tip with this, there are many teams out there whom the parents have already paid dues, and you thought you would probably go and use some of those dues for entry fees. I strongly encourage some of you programs, and if there are parents or coaches, if you do so, please share and let us know so that we can applaud you on the Chop Shop. And that is, my challenge is, take some of those projected fees from the parents that you were going to pay for an event this weekend. When you get to practice on Thursday, have a raffle for the parents who show up, and grant them with a complimentary, let them know that you're going to take care of their day pass at the door. So that means if you got 5 parents, that's $20 pass, that's $100. That means now that those parents will appreciate you. I guarantee you They will appreciate you more for such a gesture. There's nothing wrong with that. Give back to those parents who are working countless hours and showing and have been loyal enough to you early on to do something like that. That's what I would do if I was you. It ain't but a one-day pass. There's no weekend passes. You only playing 2 games in one day. Give back to your people. Help feed your flock. That's how you do it. That's one way to do it. That's for sure. Once again, go to practice on Thursday. Announce 5 parents. Every parent won't show up. Applaud the ones that shows up. Tell them you're gonna pay for their date for their door passes. Nothing wrong with that at all. But anyway, that's a food for thought. That's the type of stuff we do. Thanks, Doug Jones, for chopping it up with me this last hour on the Chop Shop. Thanks to you guys for putting it out there and keeping the boom boom room flowing and dialoguing with each other. Also, thanks to Archie Young is in the building. Jeffrey Day came up in there. I see Rick Nelson up in there now. Anna Martinez down in the valley. He says he's coming to the Doug's Dozen. He says, that's my boy right there. You know when Honor come, they come like the cartel, Doug. They come rolling down there like they come rolling down to the cartel. Just don't eat the worm. Whatever they have in that bottle, don't eat the worm, Doug. I'm telling you. You won't end up down there in Matamoros somewhere messing with Honor Martinez. I know you. I know you, Doug. You'll be up in a brothel somewhere because you're a single man. I know you, Doug, what you end up doing. You're down there talking Spanish. I can see you right now with a big sombrero on with somebody calling you Papi. But anyway, we up out of here, guys. Chop, chop. See you on tomorrow. Peace, man. Get up out of here. Let me go.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter. You are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up. It's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. We live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk. We live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop. I'm talking sports talk.